Welcome to the Final Chancellor Debate between Jackson Baker, the primary candidate for the Alonian Empire, and Daniel Rock, the current Chancellor of the Alonian Empire. Today we will be going over some key issues that are concerns of the Alonian people, and we will be covering them in 6 segments, along with one opening and one closing statement. First, we will be allowing both candidates to issue their opening statements for a period of 2 minutes each. Daniel, by seniority, will be going first. He will have 2 minutes starting now. You may begin now, Daniel.
I am running for re-election of Chancellor because I believe I am the best candidate. I've served beside the Kaiser in war, and I have been his right hand for a very long time. And we work well as a team, Chancellor and Kaiser, and yeah.
All right. Jack, you have 2 minutes, starting now.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of wars, and I don't remember much more.
Is that all? All right. Let it be known that on the record, all things said during this debate will be recorded and transcribed. We will begin with the 6 segments, including all 6 questions, covering 6 different issues that were of concerns of the Alonian people. We will begin with question 1. As the realm becomes a server and the possibility of new threats become more likely, the voters want to know what makes you think that you are the best choice to lead the nation as its chancellor in possible wars of the future. Jack, you have 2 minutes. You have 3 minutes to answer this question, starting now.
Hold up, I'm trying to think, and I can't.
It's all right.
Can I go after Daniel real quick?
I'll allow it. Jack, after he goes, then it'll be your turn. So, Daniel, you have 3 minutes to answer this question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Yes, please.
All right. As the realm becomes a server and the possibility of new threats becomes more likely, the voters want to know, what makes you think that you are the best choice to lead the nation in possible wars of the future? You have 3 minutes to answer the question, starting now.
Obviously, each new threat will be evaluated in the Chancellery, and I guess what qualifies as a threat, in my mind, is direct threats on our people or our provinces or dominions of our nation. And those threats to those areas would be definite asking for war for those people making those threats. And we've seen a similar thing with the TAMSA threatening individuals of our empire, threatening the entirety of the empire itself and our government, and threats to the government as well, I believe, in democracy could be valid to declare conflict or war over.
All right.
I end my statement.
That's helpful. Jack, you have 3 minutes to answer the question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I think think I understand it. So, alone, I don't think I would be able to, but as a group and with our army, which is very strong but still needs to be worked on, I feel that we can overcome almost every single threat that we run into. I'm sorry, that distracted me when you left. That we run into, and like Daniel said, we have to evaluate who we're fighting and stuff like that, but I don't think we should go in immediately being aggressive, as we don't want to instigate a fight.
Is that the end of your statement?
Yeah.
Alright. You now both have 6 minutes to talk amongst one another and ask each other questions on this matter. I would like to clarify once again that the question is asking what qualifies you to lead the nation during these times of war. You now have 6 minutes to talk amongst one another, and I will mediate in cases where one or more of the candidates are talking over each other. You both have 6 minutes to talk amongst one another on this issue. Do you choose to waive this?
Hold on. So, Jack, I believe you're leaning on that you were, active in past wars, and, I mean, how exactly, would that be beneficial? Like,
It's just stating past experiences.
Okay. I mean, that's all I have, really.
I have nothing, I can't think.
Alright, well, if you guys choose to waive it, we will move on to the next question. Question 2. The Empire presides over a tremendous amount of territory and possesses an immense number of individuals, cities, and 3 years' worth of important historical sites. What approach will you take that is superior than your opponent to protect the state from possible threats in the future? Jack, you have 3 minutes to answer this question, starting now.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Absolutely. The Empire presides over a tremendous amount of territory and possesses an immense number of individuals, cities, and 3 years' worth of important historical sites. What approach will you take that is superior than your opponent to protect the state from possible threats in the future? You have 3 minutes.
I mean, it's a hard question to answer because you're talking about a theoretical opponent, which can either have the offensive or defensive side, and then so on. So, I'm trying to think. What we would do is what we've been doing in past experiences with keeping one or more people keeping down certain places to make sure that they don't run, or as we've seen like with Wahi spawning in and trying to destroy things. So probably guarding, stuff like that. That's my
All right. Daniel, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
I will read the latter half instead of the full. What approach will you take that is superior than your opponent to protect the state from possible threats in the future?
While he attacked, back when you referenced historical pieces in the Empire, he attempted to steal an item. He did not succeed, and there's only really one person that saw that. We had a debate in the Chancellery as to what we should do about this. I believe some people were calling for war. There wasn't too much evidence against Wauhi, and I think certain things should only be done with full evidence and full official statements. However, we should take every threat seriously, and every threat against every part of the nation seriously. However, there is a bit of a priority on certain areas like Bridania, Tristanople, Dantony, and the important monuments, such as the one in Tristanople, the Obsidian Cross, that hold a piece of our history that we should hold on to. We should take every threat to those pieces seriously. And yeah, that's all I got.
All right, you both have 6 minutes to discuss the question. I'll repeat it one more time for you both. The Empire presides over a tremendous amount of territory and possesses an immense number of individuals, cities, and important historical sites. What approach will you personally take that is superior than your opponent to protect the state from possible threats in the future? You both have 6 minutes to discuss it between each other. However, if you both choose to waive your right to do this, you may. It is up to you both. You have 6 minutes, starting now.
Sorry. Daniel, you said there was no evidence against Wahi, but he had picked up the dragon head and already slapped down an end chest.
Well, I don't believe, it was relying on, I believe, only one person's account, and one chat message, and there wasn't really anyone else. It could have been something that was easily framed. I often do like to err on the side of caution, so we don't start wars over, some random wool block being placed somewhere or something. Yeah.
All right.
At the end of your statements, you two.
Yes, sir.
Jack, is that all?
Yeah.
All right. We'll be moving on to the next question then.
Tristan, are you okay?
No, my throat's a little bit sore, but I'll be all right. All right. Question 3. A hot button issue in the Alonian Empire has been the powers given to the Chancellor, as well as Officers, as well as the Constitution of the Empire itself. Do you believe that the powers given to elected officials inside the Alonian Empire should be changed? If so, why? Jack, you have 2 minutes.
Can you restate them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A hot button issue inside the Alonian Empire has been the powers given to the Chancellor, as well as officers, including the Constitution of the Empire itself. Do you believe that the powers given to elected officials inside the Alonian Empire should be changed? If so, why do you think this? You have 3 minutes.
Well, that's... Again, it seems like a very vague question, since I like to pinpoint what the problem is. Huh?
Sorry, I meant to mute.
Oh, I was confused. So I like to be very pinpointing on what I'm discussing, and it seems like a very vague question. But based on my current knowledge of the powers, I have not really gotten into them. I don't think they need to be changed. I feel like most people just don't like when other people get in power because it makes them feel like they're losing their power. That's the end of my statement.
All right, Daniel, you have 3 minutes. Would you like me to repeat the question?
You do not need to repeat the question.
All right. You may begin.
So I personally believe that powers such as the Chancellor are actually a bit too far, because with the current way the Chancellor is, the head Chancellor can essentially veto a lot of votes. And I do personally believe that the Chancellor should get 1 or 2 votes less, honestly. And this is coming from position of Chancellor myself. I've also looked into potentially suggesting revision of Power of High Fame. I haven't explored that as much as Chancellor, though, because Chancellor is has much more power. Yeah, that's with 5 votes versus 1 for normal officer. I feel like that is pretty unfair in the Chancellery. And that is the end of my statement.
All right, as you both know, you now have 6 minutes to talk amongst one another about this issue, starting now. If you have nothing to say, then you both have the right to waive your ability to speak here.
I have no comment.
Me neither.
All right, then we will move on to the next question. Question 4. The Alonian Empire is a nation that presides over roughly 9 months of history. Its past has been full of wars, reformations, and unprecedented growth. What is your vision for the future? Why is it the best vision for the Empire? And how do you plan on implementing it? Jack, you have 3 minutes to answer this question, starting now.
My vision for the Alonian Empire is seeing a well-functioning empire with none of these little squabbles that keep happening on in the inside of the empire. And I feel that... Stop. Can you stop? I'm trying to play with you and you won't react. And how I feel that a lot of this is coming from the lack of communication with a lot of things, along with, like, it's hard to get from one place to another quickly. So I feel that we should have more things as a nation, more meetings, more stuff like that. And then that's the end of my statement.
All right. Daniel, you have 3 minutes. Would you like me to repeat the question?
I do not need you to repeat the question.
All right.
Alrighty. So, I mean, stating that the Empire only resides over 9 months, I believe is a bit incorrect, no offense to you. But events like the burning of the original country of Daniel beside Tristanople, has had an impact that continues and has been represented through the Obsidian Monument. With our past full of wars, we kind of have a continuous working on efficiency of our military and of our empire's current way of helping its people. I believe we have been working on infrastructure, as Jack mentioned we should, and I would agree with that. And as Chancellor, I will continue working on our military, our strength as a nation, and the happiness of, I guess, our citizens in general. We are currently working on current projects with military, which these projects could be extended to the rest of our citizens. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Now the two of you have 6 minutes to talk amongst one another about this issue. Any disagreements you may have over policy or anything you'd like to point out is up to you. You have 6 minutes to do so, starting now. If you would like to waive that, you may do so.
I do not have any questions.
Yeah, me neither.
All right. We will move on to the next question. Question 5. Many factors play into the decisions people make, and the voters are curious to know what makes you tick. What factor most heavily influences the decisions you make? And why does it qualify you to lead over your opponent? Jack, you have 3 minutes to answer this question.
Sorry, what did you say? The puppy's wild and...
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Yeah, yes, please.
All right. Many factors play into the decisions that people make. The voters are curious to know what makes you tick. What factor most heavily influences the decisions you make? And why does it qualify you to lead over your opponent? You have 3 minutes.
Loki, come here. You can't be near the edge of the couch, you my father. What makes me do what I do is the loyalty I have for the country and how I've been treated in it. As I was told that it was some terrible place, and based on my more like months of interaction in this, it seems more like a group than some terrible place. It is better than what I was told. And I just have loyalty for it, and I don't want to see it fail. That's the end of my statement.
All right. Daniel, you have 3 minutes. Would you like me to repeat the question?
You do not need to repeat the question.
All right.
So the factor that would play most heavily in almost all of my decision making is the public, except in edge cases where public knowledge needs to be is not given for a certain project, such as with certain military projects to prevent them from getting to other militaries. And in regards to loyalty, everyone that I have really ever been loyal to on this server is a part of our nation, and it is an important duty to be able to help protect these people and our nation. So yeah, public opinion is the most important factor, except in a few cases where the public cannot really have an opinion, such as with, military. And that's it here.
All right. The two of you have 6 minutes, unless you would like to waive it, to discuss it between the two of you, beginning now.
I have no questions.
I have no questions either.
All right. We'll move on to the next question. The final question. Controversy has persisted in the Alonian Empire for months over the decision to invade Danzig in the Northern War over their capture of Jordanian and Alonian ice illegally. What are your views on the controversy? Was the Empire justified in its invasion of Danzig? Jack, you have 3 minutes to answer this question, beginning now.
Well, I don't see where we were in the wrong because, I get that it was just a couple stacks of ice. And I understand that if I was called out for just a couple stacks of ice and then put into a war over it, I would be upset too. But then I don't remember whose ice it was. They said that there was no so Danzig said that they had made some sort of deal for the ice. And then when we asked the person who they said they made the deal with, he said that he had not made a deal, from what I understand. So I think that, yes, it was just a couple stacks of ice, but at the same time, he was still stealing. And if there was a treaty, then I feel like it was miscommunication, but I don't think it was an overreaction, because there's nothing else we could do since it is just a server.
Is that the end of your statement? All right. Daniel, you have 3 minutes. Would you like me to repeat the question?
You do not need to repeat the question.
All right.
So I did not really fully understand this whole event that happened here, honestly. But I do believe Danzig was in the wrong for not getting an official, statement from Jordania. Official permission from Jordania to collect the ice. And for the sake of the future of the Empire, I believe it is a bit strange how Danzig, as he was a country and is now a province, it is kind of strange how in general they act, and I'm not totally sure if they are fit to be in the nation or out of the nation, just based on how they treat everyone around them. That's all I really have to say.
All right. The two of you have 6 minutes to talk amongst yourselves on this issue, starting now.
Daniel, can you restate the last sentence of your thing?
Oh, last sentence?
Yeah.
The one about whether or not Danzig is fit to be in the Empire?
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you said. My bad.
Okay.
I'm kind of playing with the puppy.
That's alright. I have no questions.
I have no questions.
All right, in that case, we will move on to the closing statements from both candidates. The two two of you will have 2 minutes each to make clear your final positions for the voters. This is the last time you will be given a platform to do so. You have 2 minutes starting now, Jack.
I do want to apologize for inactivity in this. I've been taking care of a little puppy. But can you stop biting me? Ow! Stop it. Okay, that's the end of my statement. I'm sorry.
Alright, in that case, Daniel, you have 2 minutes.
As a closing statement, I would like to restate that I've worked with the Kaiser for pretty much the entirety of the Alonian Empire, and I have, before that, my alliances are with the Empire and its people. My loyalties are solely within the Empire. I work well with the Kaiser as I am a generalist. I have experience on many different fronts of how we operate, how the game itself, the world itself operates. You can see this with Dantonese projects. And yeah, that's why I think you should vote for me, and that's it.
Alright, in that case, this is the end of the final debate for Chancellor of the Alonian Empire. Thank you both for coming, and that'll be all. Keep in mind that on August 1st, this coming date, the Alonian Empire will hold the final election to decide which of you will become the Chancellor for the next 6 months. I hope you both have a good day, and that this debate was good. Thank you both for coming.
Wait. One last thing.
Yes?
Let me think of it.
We'll add this onto your closing
change his
statement.
pants?
Well, we'll add this onto your closing statement. Are you done?
I'm thinking whether to go through with it or not. Why did the golfer change his pants? Because he had a hole in one.
Is that all?
That's it.
Alright. Thank you both for coming, and I will talk to you both later. Further the state.
Further the state.